We've had a busy but productive week of meetings. We've been focused on ASEAN community building and strengthening our linkages with key partners. When Singapore took on the ASEAN chairmanship, we chose the themes of resilience and innovation. They reflect our understanding of the challenges and opportunities ahead, and more importantly, the ASEAN spirit of staying united and looking forward. I'm happy that we have launched a number of concrete deliverables that will better prepare ASEAN for the future. I thank fellow ASEAN members and our external partners for your strong support in making our shared vision of a resilient and innovative ASEAN possible. To address security threats and forge a peaceful and rules-based regional order, we established the Resilience Response Recovery Framework to enhance counter-terrorism cooperation. We adopted the world's first multilateral air guidelines to manage unintentional encounters between military aircraft. ASEAN has also redoubled our economic integration efforts and demonstrated clearly our commitment to uphold a free, open, and rules-based multilateral order. Within ASEAN, we signed the ASEAN Agreement on E-commerce and introduced the ASEAN-wide self-certification scheme to facilitate cross-border online transactions. I'm pleased that the RCEP negotiations had made substantial progress. We're now in the final stages of negotiations. It's important to take full advantage of the positive momentum generated this year to conclude the RCEP negotiations in 2019. We are also bringing our cities and peoples closer together. This year, we launched the ASEAN Smart Cities Network. We've developed action plans for the 26 pilot cities to create innovative urban solutions that will bring tangible improvements to our people's lives. I'm happy that our external partners are equally committed to this cause and have worked with our cities on several mutually beneficial projects. We also launched the ASEAN Youth Fellowship and renewed the Singapore ASEAN Youth Fund. Events such as esports and music festivals help promote camaraderie among our youths. These are worthy investments because our youths hold the key to ASEAN's future. I have listed many deliverables, and these are just a small part of a much more substantial report card which ASEAN member states have achieved together for this chairmanship. You have a copy of it on your chairs. It's an easy-to-read infographic that compile the key initiatives we have launched this year. As I hand over the chairmanship, I would like to thank everyone for your support and hard work. Because of your collective commitment and efforts, we have taken considerable strides towards a more united, resilient, and innovative ASEAN. This is just the beginning of a new and exciting chapter for ASEAN. We are not and never will be done building and strengthening the ASEAN community. We must continue to uphold the ASEAN-centric frameworks and engage our partners to keep our region open and inclusive. We must stay on the course of economic integration and pool our talents and resources to improve our people's lives. And despite our individual national interests, we must continue to think regionally and invest political capital in the ASEAN project. Singapore has full confidence that Thailand, as the incoming ASEAN chair, will continue to take ASEAN forward. And we look forward to continue working with the rest of the ASEAN family to fulfill our common goal of one vision, one identity, one community. We wish our Thai friends the very best. Sawadee Ka.
Thank you, Prime Minister. We would now like to invite the incoming Chair of ASEAN, His Excellency General Prayut Chan-o-cha, Prime Minister of the Kingdom of Thailand, to the stage. Your Excellency, please. Minister Lee will now hand over the ASEAN Chairmanship's gavel to His Excellency General Prayut Chan-o-cha. This formally symbolizes the handing over of the ASEAN Chairmanship to the Kingdom of Thailand. Thank you, Your Excellencies. invite His Excellency General Prayut Chan-o-cha to deliver his remarks. Your Excellency, please.
Mr. Chairman, Your Majesty, Excellencies, distinguished guests, I wish to thank and congratulate Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong and the Singaporean ASEAN Chairmanship team on their success in efficiently driving forward a resilient and innovative ASEAN community. Thailand will continue the good work on those issues to which ASEAN has given priority this past year, especially the ASEAN Smart Cities Network, for the purposes of ensuring continuity and sustainability for the ASEAN community. Mr. Chairman, distinguished guests, since the founding of ASEAN in Bangkok in 1967, over 5 decades ago, ASEAN has become a community in a region of peace and security. ASEAN has grown into the 6th largest economy in the world and is projected to become the world's 4th largest economy by 2030. Its role is recognized internationally and is at the center of the regional architecture. However, ASEAN is also facing a number of challenges, such as trade and political competition, disruptive technologies, transnational crime, inequities, and transformations in the region's social structure. For these reasons, all 10 countries must collaborate even more closely on the foundation of ASEAN unity and the principle of the 3 M's: mutual trust, mutual respect, and mutual benefit, to realize concrete deliverables and sustainability for ASEAN in all dimensions. I am therefore proud to announce Thailand's theme for the ASEAN Chairmanship next year, which is Advancing Partnership for Sustainability. This theme has 3 main components. First is advancing. ASEAN will look towards the future and move forward together dynamically, making use of technological advances from the 4th Industrial Revolution and enhancing our competitiveness. ASEAN will also build immunity to the negative effects of disruptive technologies and future challenges, especially for MSMEs, so as to advance towards a digital ASEAN. Second is partnership, both within ASEAN and with dialogue partners and the international community, by strengthening the concept of ASEAN Plus One and reinforcing the ASEAN-centered regional architecture, increasing economic cooperation with all countries, with due consideration to balance and benefits for the people, and enhancing the role of ASEAN on the international stage in addressing important global issues such as climate change. In strengthening ASEAN's various partnerships, one of the most important drivers is the promotion of connectivity in various dimensions, including infrastructure, rules and regulations, and people-to-people links, especially in the context of the ASEAN Year of Culture 2019. Equally important is connecting the various connectivity strategies within the region to becoming a seamless ASEAN. Third is sustainability in all dimensions, be it sustainable security, sustainable economic growth, which includes the green economy, and sustainable development. The establishment of the ASEAN Center for Sustainable Development Studies and Dialogue and the ASEAN Center for Active Aging and Innovation will play an important role in achieving this goal. Mr. Chairman, distinguished guests, in conclusion, I wish to invite all ASEAN member states, ASEAN citizens, and all sectors of society to cooperate closely in developing an ASEAN brand in order to create strategic value added for ASEAN, strengthen our ASEAN identity, and help ASEAN become a people-centered community that leaves no one behind and looks forward to the future, our future, with pride. Sawadee krap, and thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency. We now invite you to view a video presentation by the incoming ASEAN Chair, the Kingdom of Thailand.
In 1967, the Bangkok Declaration was signed in Thailand, marking the birth of ASEAN. Today, 10 Southeast Asian nations have become the sixth largest economy in the world, with 655 million people, peaceful and prosperous, with people at the heart of this community. Moving ASEAN forward to the next 50 years and beyond, ASEAN will join hands to prepare for unprecedented changes, regional and global challenges, by advancing partnership to fully connect our region and the world, together with our external partners. Create a seamless and one ASEAN in the era of the fourth industrial revolution. Benefit from the digital transformation. Utilize fully the global value chain. And enhance ASEAN's centrality in the regional architecture. For a sustainable future that is people-centered, inclusive, and green. By reducing economic and social gaps, enhancing human security, and investing in human capital. Joining the ASEAN people together so that no one is left behind. Thailand is honored and fully prepared to assume the ASEAN Chairmanship in 2019. ASEAN welcomes you to the Kingdom of Thailand and a new chapter for ASEAN. ASEAN 2019, Advancing Partnership for Sustainability.
Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of the closing ceremony. The ASEAN heads of state and heads of government will now take their leave. Kindly remain seated until they have left the room. Thank you.
All right, and with that, the 33rd ASEAN Summit has come to a close. Singapore Prime Minister Mr. Lee Hsien Loong has officially handed the ceremonial gavel to Thai Prime Minister Mr. Prayut Chan-o-cha. Thailand will officially assume the chair on January 1st, 2019, and the theme for next year is Advancing Partnership for Sustainability. All right, let's bring in our correspondent, Leong Waikit, who is there at the ceremony. Waikit, could you summarize for us what were some of the key highlights of the closing ceremony?
Well, Gerard, the key highlight for me is that you and I, and perhaps our viewers who are watching us in the region, will soon live in a world that's highly secure, that we have technology helping us in our everyday lives, and when we shop for goods and services, we have them affordable. Now that is the future, but if you work backwards and come back to present day, if you come back to Suntec City, where the ASEAN Summit is being held here in Singapore, the deals and discussions made here would actually pave the way for the world that I was describing. We've got deals that were secured in terms of managing counter-terrorism efforts, in terms of managing air encounters among military planes. We've also signed deals to help businesses expand within Southeast Asia and the region in terms of e-commerce. We've also had solid plans coming out of these smart nation networks. Now, these are all examples of physical evidence that we can see. In the past few days, there are also intangible outcomes. You must have seen many pictures images of ASEAN leaders standing together, waving at the camera. You must have seen ASEAN leaders relaxing, having dinner together. You also have seen the spouses of ASEAN leaders communicating with each other, shaking hands, smiling, hugging and kissing. Now, all these are very small efforts, but it's important to form an ASEAN camaraderie, which is important when ASEAN gets together to discuss sometimes potentially challenging concerns.
And Waikit, Thailand officially, as you know, now becomes the chairman next year on January 1st. What do you think Bangkok will be focusing on?
Well, earlier you saw Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong ending his closing speech saying Sawadee Krap, and that got Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha chuckling, clapping, and it was on that very casual, very relaxed mode that you said the gavel was passed from Singapore to Thailand. But on a more serious note, there have been, the work is carved out for Thailand. They will be discussing various issues that were discussed here. So these topics in Singapore will be brought forward to Thailand when they take the chair, and these include boosting digital connectivity for people, making sure no one gets left behind. They will also talk about boosting the economy. Most importantly, Thailand will continue to push for the large trade pact that the region is looking forward to, the RCEP. They're pushing that to hopefully get some form of conclusion. However, there are also some concerns when Thailand takes over the ASEAN chair. If you recall, about 10 years ago when ASEAN Summit was held in Pattaya, it was during a time of political turmoil domestically. There were street protests that disrupted the ASEAN meetings. As we know, Thailand is set to hold their elections in February next year, and there have been concerns that that these developments may potentially disrupt the events. And one of the examples really that we have seen is how the ASEAN Summit was moved from the April slot to the June slot. But all things being said, the closing ceremony ended on a very positive note, with both the previous and the current chairs being very confident of their deliverables for the ASEAN Summits.
All right, thanks, Waikit. That was Leong Waikit reporting to us live at the Suntec Convention Centre on the closing ceremony of the 33rd ASEAN Summit. Well, after days of meetings, talks and discussions, the 33rd ASEAN Summit has now finally ended. The closing ceremony took place just a while ago, and Singapore's Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong delivered the closing remarks before handing the chairmanship's gavel over to his Thai counterpart, Prayut Chan-o-cha. Mr. Lee said the bloc's member states have achieved much this year under Singapore's chairmanship, but emphasized that there is still much work to do.
This is just the beginning of a new and exciting chapter for ASEAN. We are not and never will be done building and strengthening the ASEAN community. We must continue to uphold the ASEAN-centric frameworks and engage our partners to keep our region open and inclusive. We must stay on the course of economic integration and pool our talents and resources to improve our people's lives. And despite our individual national interests, we must continue to think regionally and invest political capital in the ASEAN project.
And Thailand's Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha took the stage for the acceptance speech. He congratulated Singapore and said Thailand would continue on the good work done this year. Mr. Prayut also touched on regional challenges such as transnational crime and disruptive technologies. He said that in light of such headwinds, it's essential for all ASEAN nations to continue working together.
All 10 countries must collaborate even more closely on the foundation of ASEAN unity and the principle of the 3 M's: mutual trust, mutual respect, and mutual benefit, to realize concrete deliverables and sustainability for ASEAN in all dimensions.
Bangkok is expected to carry on the work Singapore has done this year as chairman, and the Republic has done quite a bit under its chairmanship. It has stepped up the grouping's battle against climate change. Early this year, it convened a special ministerial meeting for the very first time over the issue. Singapore has also been pushing for better online security amid a regional focus on the digital economy. It's funding a centre that's aimed at developing the cyber capabilities of all ASEAN member states. And just days earlier, ASEAN signed its very first e-commerce agreement aimed at facilitating regional cross-border e-commerce transactions. The city-state has also advanced negotiations for an ambitious free trade pact, the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, or RCEP. Discussions are set to conclude next year. If it becomes a reality, RCEP will be the world's largest free trade deal, encompassing nearly a third of global output. All right, we'll take another short break, but keep it right here on Channel News Asia.